Hello and welcome to the Big Bank Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
A belated return to the airwaves this week, Dan.
Yeah.
It's not our fault. Don't blame us. Blame Derek Adams.
Derek Adams.
His stupid white coat.
The matchday officials.
COVID.
COVID.
The cold.
We're back now in the, Dream Factory. IRL.
The Hits Factory.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here. Not just the Dream Factory of your mind, listener, but the Dream Factory in real life.
Yep.
Have you ever had a dream about us, listener?
The soundtrack to your dreams.
I feel like I've been watching that Beatles documentary, Dan, as I know you have, and I feel like
Can we just talk about that for a bit?
I think we might have to.
Rather than just like anything to do with any of the football. Let's be honest, it's a lot more entertaining.
I feel like, I'm just kind of wondering what John's up to at the moment.
Well, I hate to break it to you.
Oh, no. Bad news.
22 years ago. No,
more than
42 years ago, sorry. He sadly died.
John. But I wonder, listeners, if you feel like that about us. Do you wonder what we're up to day to day, hour to hour?
I doubt it.
I can tell you, we're up to wonderful, magical things, including this. We're here to talk about Exeter City's new unbeaten run. 2 games on the spin, unbeaten. How about that, Dan?
Yeah, I like that. 10 times more than that, and we're back
where we were.
Level with our last.
If we put in another
run.
20-game unbeaten record, that'll almost see us to the end of the season. Not quite, but almost.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? And then what? Then we lose in the.
Then we throw it away at Wembley.
Lose in the playoff final.
I'd imagine so. Yeah. Like we'll break the record in the playoff semi-final.
Yeah.
Best unbeaten run ever, and then go and squander a 2-0 lead away to Sutton United at Wembley.
Well, we'll come on to this later, but it could be even worse than that, couldn't it? What if it was against? I know this is very unlikely. I know. Paul Tisdale's Stevenage Borough.
Oh, imagine that would be it, wouldn't it? He wins and he still gives us the wanker sign. Thanks a lot, Tiz. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute, shall we?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the weekend first.
Yeah, why not?
City away to Rochdale, snowy Rochdale, up in the drifts.
Yeah, well, some games that neck of the woods got called off, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Burnley, that's near there, isn't it?
You know what they did? They just sprinkled Crown oil all over the pitch.
Yeah, because famously, oil and water don't mix.
Exactly.
And they know that better than anyone up at Crown Oil.
Those Crown Oil kings, they know all about that stuff.
Absolute experts. All the boffins at Crown Oil.
Yeah.
You can learn a thing or two, Sean Dyche. Anyway, yeah, Rochdale away.
Fair play to the 400 or so City supporters that went.
Yep.
Flipping freezing by the look of it.
It would have been, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Matt J was the only one in short sleeves.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Why? I don't know if I go in for this kind of like, he's hard because he's wearing less clothes than is sensible in this climate. It's like Sean Dyche again at the weekend when he's going outside in the snow in his shirt. No one thinks you just look like a bellend. I'm not saying that about Matt J, but
I hope not.
All I'm saying is it's sort of like I'm not necessarily think it's like worthy of praise.
I think Matt J
I
just think he didn't notice. His mind's so on grey things and the football.
Like, fair enough, don't do what that fella a few weeks ago did at St James Park, where he basically had trousers on. But
yeah,
remember him?
We never talked about that, did we?
The guy with the trousers.
The guy with the trousers on. Yeah, don't do that. Anyway, didn't matter what happened. City took the lead, second half. Oh no, first thing that happened was a penalty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Josh Key gave away a penalty.
Yeah.
Snow in his eyes.
Little clumsy, wasn't it? He kind of rushed into that a little bit, but you know.
Yeah.
It's
Josh, you know who Josh Key looks a bit like?
Who's that?
The boy from the Snowman.
Does he?
Put a dressing gown on him. No, actually, Matt J looks more like him, if I'm honest.
I always had it in my mind that he was a little sort of fair-haired
child.
He
is. He's just got the look of he's got the key features.
The key features to be
Josh Key,
the boy in the Snowman. Oh, right, I see. Right.
Anyway, Josh Key gives away a penalty, just kind of keeps running and Macy goes over.
He's very ginger, this kid.
He's a bit Matt J.
He doesn't look anything like
Jack Sparks.
Josh Key.
Jack Sparks?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to pigeonhole.
He's got kind of rosy cheeks, and I think Josh Key's got a bit of, that going on.
That's what I'm talking about, really.
Well, I'll tell you who looks like exactly like the Snowman.
Who?
Derek Adams. We'll come on to him again in a
yeah,
minute.
He does.
Less friendly.
Yeah.
So
he's like the Snowman's horrible mate.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we gave away a penalty. Let's remark on this though.
Oh yeah.
Cameron Dawson, ill.
Poorly.
Yeah.
We don't know what with.
We don't know what with. Can't have been COVID because
he's back.
He was back last night, but so he was out. And
do you think he was just feeling tired and teasy?
What does that mean?
You know, tired, worn out, bit cross.
I see. He looks a bit like the kid from the Snowman.
So basically, everyone except the person I suggested looks a bit like the kid from the Snowman.
Yeah.
All right.
On the subject of lookalikes, I got roundly trounced somewhere online for suggesting that Matt Taylor looked like David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
Which I stand by.
Yeah. Who trounced you?
I can't remember. Someone just said it was ridiculous or something. But I don't know.
That's outrageous. If there's one thing this
There's
podcast
something
is
about
not,
it's like
it's
the
ridiculous.
mouth or the eyes or something.
Square
Check
jaw.
it out.
It's the
if you
square
fancy it.
jawline,
Square
isn't it?
jaw. He looks. It's not uncanny, but it's only a little bit canny.
He's in the field of.
I think he looks like him. Anyway, back to it. Gave away a penalty.
Yeah.
Scott Brown
in goal. First game, first league game for City.
Yeah. And didn't have to do anything for the penalty because the guy hit the post.
Yeah. In fact, Brown went the wrong way and made he hit the post. It was such a post shot. It came out at it flew out, didn't it? The other way. So that was 0-0 half time, and then a lovely cross from Matt J.
Yeah, it was well worked, wasn't it? With him and Caprice out on that left wing back again.
Yeah.
And then kind of cross from deep, and I mean, never mind the cross. I mean, which it was a lovely cross, but that header, the header from George Ray,
first goal for City, George Ray.
Yeah, it's an absolute it's such a
stonker.
satisfying header to watch.
Yeah.
Real kind of whip of the head, you know. It really redirects it.
Yeah.
Into the corner, no chance. 1-0 City.
And we got to see George Ray's goal gif.
Yeah.
He's bringing back something from the past, something I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't seen that for years. I've forgotten all about that little thing you do with you sort of put one of your hands in your jumper.
Yeah.
And then you grab hold of your other sleeve with your spare hand.
Wouldn't work with a Matt J short sleeve.
I think he's doing it with a short sleeve. He's just improvising and stretching it.
Right.
And then you kind of move it up and down. I mean, have a look. I don't know. I'm trying to describe this on a podcast.
It's basically undescribable. But as soon as you see it,
you'll see it. And you're like, oh yeah, I
did that in year 4.
Yeah, I did that at school. Along with when you put your hands together.
Yeah.
And then the other person puts their hands together at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
You slot your fingers together.
Yeah. I know where you're going with this.
One person over the hand and
yeah.
Have a look in there.
Something's revealed.
See what that looks like.
Did you in your school? I don't think this related to the George Ray goal celebration thing. Did you used to say umpah, stick it up your joompah?
Yeah.
Was that about that?
No, I don't think so.
About something else?
No, I don't know what that's about.
Well,
yeah, we used to do all sorts of school, so we could keep talking about that for ages.
We probably shouldn't, because then City 1-0 up. That's it's still with 20-25 minutes to go. Obviously, Rochdale kind of throw everything at it.
Yeah, I mean, this was for me. It was a radio commentary job.
Yeah, me too.
The dulcet tones of Alan Tong.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. And yeah, it felt like we were hanging on a bit there at the end, didn't it? Or not, maybe not hanging on, but it felt like a goal was coming.
It did feel like a goal was coming, yeah.
And it did.
It did.
Yeah. So a guy sort of just, one of their players, twats it in from distance, doesn't he?
Yeah,
it's a very good shot, but I mean,
I think Giovanni Brown,
maybe Brown
and other defenders probably should have.
I think he's a bit close. The other defenders are slow in closing him down, and Giovanni comes across from another man, and maybe could. I think this is just a bit of a mix-up, but I don't know. Yeah, disappointing given that we were 1-0 up, but I think, in the grand scheme of things, 1-1 away at Rochdale. In a busy kind of period.
Yep.
It's not too bad.
And they've been on some kind of mad run, haven't they?
Had they?
Yeah, they'd 9 unbeaten or something like that.
Right, okay.
So
That doesn't sound too mad to me. Come back to me within 20, Rochdale. Yeah, I think if it had been the other way around and we'd gone 1-0 down and then we'd equalised, I'd have been quite happy with that, really.
And then Amond had a big chance at the end, didn't he? So we still had 20 minutes left after that.
Yeah. I haven't actually seen this. I couldn't find it. I don't think it was on the highlights I saw, but yeah, 1-on-1, you know.
But you're right, a point, especially with a penalty conceded.
Yeah, and Amond, someone who doesn't play a huge amount, is he? I mean, because, so, you know, those chances, and he is an instinctive kind of goal scorer, but chances like that, the more you play, the more likelihood you're going to put those away. So, not to be. But I mean, we got to be all right with that 1-1 away at Rochdale, I think.
Indeed. So the league, Forest Green is still top. They got 40 points, and they've played a game less than everyone.
Yeah,
not
they're
everyone else,
kind of breaking away, aren't they?
Kind of breaking away.
Very consistent.
Second is Northampton. They played 19 on 34. We're third, 19-33. Swindon are fourth, 18-33. Port Vale in fifth, 19-32. Sutton the same as Port Vale. Harrogate 19, 30 points. So yeah, you're right. Forest Green are pulling away to some extent, but they drop a couple of points and we keep winning.
Yeah, or one of those teams.
We got to play them,
well.
blah, blah, blah. So that's the current league situation. And then last night, Tuesday night, it was the replay. Talk about that in a second. Welcome back to the Big Bang Theory podcast. Remember, you can get in touch with us in all the normal ways. We're on email, bigbankpod@gmail.com. We're on Twitter @bigbankpod, and we're on Facebook as well, the Big Bang Theory podcast. Thanks for all your top suggestions about toast. And none of you have invented toast, but some of you have invented other varieties of,
Yeah, not much in the way of real inventions out there, was there? I mean,
I mean, in a way, why mess around with toast?
No, I mean, people have tried it, haven't they? You do that thing where you toast it a little bit and then you cut it in half, like sort of down the middle, and make 2 very thin slices of toast. Ooh. You ever had that? And they sort of serve it with pâté.
Do they?
Don't know what it's called. And then, of course, French toast.
Yes, of course, French toast.
Or as we call it in this country, eggy bread.
Yes. Anyway, thanks for getting in touch. You can get in touch with us about anything you want. We're interested in all your interests.
But it doesn't just have to be about bread and toast.
No? Broaden it out.
Yeah.
Show some imagination, listeners, will you? Okay, so last night it was Bradford City at home, first round of the FA Cup, replay.
Yeah, apparently the longest FA Cup tie since the late 90s or something. I don't know what happened then, but something like that.
Marvellous.
So, obviously we know everyone knows what's happened. So back they came.
Back they came.
All the way back. Derek and his mates.
In his white coat.
In his white coat. The angry snowman.
Yes.
And they all got it. The supporters were given free...
The Bradford supporters were given free tickets.
Free tickets, the Bradford supporters, yeah. And I think some donation was made to some charity or other.
I think all profits were split. No, all of Exeter's profits were split. Because with the FA Cup, it's 50-50 anyway, isn't it?
Right.
So all of Exeter's profits, I don't know what Bradford did, but Exeter split their profits between a Bradford food bank and an Exeter food bank.
Fair play.
I mean, that's very... that's what you'd expect, isn't it, of our
it is.
football club. But yeah, good business.
But yeah, it's good. So slightly changed lineup.
Yeah.
We obviously are using the squad this season, which is nice because, it's nice to have options and nice to be able to, compete on 2 fronts, if you want. You know? So
that was Hitler's biggest mistake, of course.
He tried. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it's different with football.
Very much so.
It's encouraged.
Sam Stubbs starting.
Yeah,
his second game for Exeter.
Yeah.
This is good to see.
What was the other one he started in? The old Papa John's.
I think so. Yeah.
It wasn't League, was it?
No, I think it was Papa John.
Yeah. Okay.
He started. So did Colin Daniel.
Yeah.
Awara Edwards, Harry Kyle Taylor. And Josh Coley all started out of the ones who don't normally. And then the other thing of note, I suppose, is that Giovanni Brown was kind of up front as the sort of only striker.
Okay.
And
so that's the very different starting 11, isn't it?
It is a different starting 11. You basically it's Dieng, Key, and Hartridge and Dawson are the ones that's it, and the rest of them are kind of here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Brown, of course. But it didn't start off particularly well. In fact, it started off quite badly, really.
Angry Lee Angol.
Yeah, he's just he's a bit of a piece of work, isn't he? I guess it works. He's winding people up, and he obviously did. He's a good player, but I don't know if I'd want that, kind of thing going on.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I don't know. Maybe it's good overall.
He scored.
He did score quite early on. It's a very well taken goal. I mean, Dawson beat his near post. It's a brilliant take.
Mm-hmm.
Takes it down his chest really nicely, right in front of the big bank. And then, good finish. But it does beat Dawson at the near post, so it'll be a bit disappointed in that one, I would have thought.
Bad first half, right?
It was, but part of it's due down to the weather. To a degree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the wind is like very much blowing that way, so it's blowing right into the big bank, so it's freezing up there.
Yeah.
And it was really helping. We weren't, but it wasn't just that. We were just not at the races. We were just booting it up to. I mean, there's not much point booting it up to Sam Nombe, let alone Giovanni, who actually a couple of times managed to get a few flick-ons, but who to? No one. It's more of a 4-3-3. This kind of formation. I just don't know if it suits us really. That I mean, we find it hard to kind of to play the ball out of the air out of tight areas, and we end up hoofing it more than we need to. Whereas I think we're quite good at moving the ball, working the ball along the ground, and then trying to find openings and working out to the wings. And I wasn't quite sure with that 4-3-3. Obviously, it's like the wing backs. Do they go or do they hang back? So they're fullbacks, really. So
yeah.
But
so who's playing either side of the midfield? So who are of the three?
The three up top, you mean?
4-3-3. So the midfield three. Who have we got there?
Well, that's Kyle Taylor, and Tim Dieng.
So they're not playing on the wings at all.
Well, you have three on the wings.
What I mean is they're sitting three centrally as midfielders.
Yeah, they're not.
So it's either fullbacks or it's strikers. There's no midfield wide players really.
No, well, like I said, you wouldn't want three wingers, but I don't know what it is. They can't get it.
It's just a different system, isn't it? Because we're well used to our those defensive players running on, aren't we?
Yeah, but like I said, second half. So we went in half time 1-0 down, and we are probably fairly lucky to go in at 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
They had like several sort of decent shots on target. Dawson kind of made amends for his kind of that initial kind of lapse. Like I said, it's a really good finish, but I mean, he made a couple of really good saves, including this one double save where perhaps he could have held on to the first one, but he doesn't. But at least he makes up for this point blank, like second follow-up shot. And we go in at half time, only 1-0 down, which is that's okay. We've seen quite a lot that we're capable, especially at home, of getting back into games, and we do tend to grow into them.
Yeah.
And we know we've got options on the bench, which obviously we used.
Yeah.
Only 5 this time, though, not 6.
We behaved ourselves on the subs count.
Yeah. So that's what made the difference, really. Well, it wasn't just that, because we came out in the second half and we looked like a different team. Okay. I mean, I think Taylor had obviously given them,
what for the old
big
Hasselhoff charm.
But yeah, I mean, when Hasselhoff goes evil, I don't know if that ever happened in Baywatch or when he was doing all that business on the Berlin Wall, but I like to imagine that Hasselhoff, if you cross him, he will end you. You
think that's what Matt Taylor was doing?
Well, I think in the post-match interview, he basically wouldn't say what he said because it was too explicit, lewd.
Too lewd.
Not lewd, maybe. Too
vicious.
Anyway, just not suitable for audiences.
So it didn't take long for a response.
No, we looked so much better, and because it was in the same system, we didn't change anything. Okay. Same personnel, and we just looked. It was like they had been given a rocket.
Yeah,
and so much better. We started working chances, and then we started making these changes. And I can't remember the order of them, but one that stood out to me in a way is Collins coming on.
Yeah,
because sometimes you think with Collins, when we're playing in our normal kind of full strength lineup, sometimes he can be a little conservative.
Yeah,
and it's more that it's not that we don't need that, but sometimes you want a bit more creativity, perhaps from some of those players like him. But when you can't get hold of the ball and you can't just you can't work the ball around the pitch, there's no one better. And it's just like, it's brilliant just to have him just get the ball and play it to someone who is in space. Do you mean if that means going back or going sideways, then in this circumstance, that was just a really good thing to have.
Yeah,
and so that really made a difference. Stubbs came off as well. Then I think we made a triple sub, so Stubbs came off. I think he did about 60 minutes, and that's pretty good, considering this man we thought we'd never ever see, and he looks like a proper centre back. He was a little bit at fault for that first goal. Like Lee Angle gets away from him a little bit,
right,
to find that space for the shot. But the guy's barely ever played a football match in his life, so I thought he did quite well.
Okay,
and then on comes all the big guns: Nombe, Ray, Jay. All the ones ending in A.
Yeah.
Any others ending in A?
No, so Collins came on first.
Browns A. Yeah, so they all came on, and that made loads of difference. Matt J was kind of like, just improved that kind of that attack, like obviously he would. And then the second goal looked like it was a real possibility, and then it came
2-2 for George Ray. Then remarkable.
Before that, I think Key was one of the few players that sort of like Key and Hartridge that sort of stood out in the first half that were playing all right, you know. And he continued that. Josh Key just like plundering again, like he does down the right hand side.
Yeah.
And I think it came. Was it a corner for the Tim Dieng one? I think maybe it was. It was a corner, and it kind of like gets nodded on, but it shows like great composure to kind of bring it down on his chest, and then just like get the ball down, and then just picks his spot and beats the keeper and a couple of defenders really close by him. And what a player he is!
He's been such a good buy, hasn't he?
I really think that's a good bit of business, Dieng.
Yeah.
I mean, whether we can keep him fit for the whole season is something you'd think. I don't know, because at the start of the season he was struggling a bit, wanting to play.
He played a lot since,
much,
hasn't
but
he?
Yeah, he's played. I think he might have done like in the last few games. I think he's played all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
but
full
again,
games too.
It's about the depth as well, isn't it? Like to know that you got Kyle Taylor and.
Yeah, Nige to come back to, who's been all right this season, really. I mean, considering we did think at the end of last season maybe he's had
his time.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So that was encouraging. So we got the
2-1 win.
And everyone obviously was loving it. Everyone except Derek. He wasn't loving it.
See you later, Dale.
At one point, Adams got told off by the referee.
Yeah.
This is why. Goes out for a throw. Josh Key goes to take it, and he blocks him off. He literally, because he was like, I guess he was like saying that's not going to take the throwing off, but he literally just blocked Key from taking, like,
stood in front of him.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he got a talking to for that. You can't do that.
He's terrible, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's terrible. Yeah. He was still moaning though, of course. You seen this quote from him? I do think the game should have been played at a neutral venue because we've had to travel back. We had done nothing wrong. The officials have made the mistake. They allowed a sixth substitute to be put onto the pitch. Coming back here and having to play the game again is probably not the fairest outcome because as a football club, Bradford City didn't do anything wrong. Exeter made the sixth substitution and the referee allowed it. That is what you call bitter.
I mean, is he wrong?
He's not wrong, but...
I've heard him say a lot worse. I mean, he's obviously not happy about it, but, I mean, maybe they could have played it at a neutral venue. I mean, that's easier said than done, I suppose. But...
That'd be more expensive. Like, you got to hire someone else's ground, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, they're out of the FA Cup now, and we're through to the unbelievably still just the second round.
I know.
It feels like we should be in the final.
Yeah, it does really. You've been through a lot.
So Cambridge
United on Saturday.
Straight away on Saturday. Weird, isn't it? Playing 2 FA Cup games in a row.
Yeah, literally 4 days apart.
Yeah.
Of course, we got a fresh because of the second string that Taylor used. That's a much fresher lineup.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Cambridge didn't play last night, I don't think. So we'll see. I mean, we've been against Cambridge a few times in recent seasons, haven't we? Back up at Old Abbey Stadium.
We have. We got battered there 4-1, didn't we? And then I think we had to go back there soon after that and managed to get, I think it was a 1-1 draw, but they went up, didn't they, a couple of seasons ago, and and they're doing okay, I think.
I think they're 20th. So they got Houlihan, haven't they?
They're 20th. They were 10th last time I looked.
Dropped off a bit, I think.
I think when we drew them, they were 10th. No, that was when it was like between them and whoever else they were playing. Right. I mean, that could happen, can't it? A couple of losses, but
yeah. So Wes Houlihan, of course.
Yeah.
And Sam Smith, who was at Cheltenham last year. Do you remember him?
Okay,
Scored a lot.
Yeah.
So it's quite a good team, obviously. But yeah,
we're always talking about Cheltenham, so
Yeah.
Not Cheltenham, sorry, Cambridge. Stupid badge.
Yeah, their stupid badge. So that's Saturday. So we'll see. They lost to Sunderland at the weekend, And yeah, they're currently, my mistake, sorry, 16th in the league. 16th in the league.
Right, so they have dropped a little bit. But yeah I mean, they'd still be the favourites, won't they?
They'll be the favourites, but like we said last time, it's a good story, isn't it, all this? And City will feel like they've overcome some in there and will fancy themselves to go and...
Yeah, I hope so. That's kind of what it felt like in the first half last night. It felt like the motivation was more with Bradford because of obviously them feeling hard done by.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
That and the weather. But they lost, so...
And then on Tuesday, Dan, the busyness continues. It's Northampton at home, who are absolute promotion rivals.
Yeah, that's a big game, that.
Right old big game, isn't it? I think... what do I think about this? I think both teams probably won't be dissatisfied with the draw, but I also think both teams will want to win it.
We haven't lost at St James Park yet this season.
No.
Remember that. So I think...
We've had an excellent run of form.
I think based on that, I will be disappointed if we lose.
I too would be disappointed.
Under the circumstance, it depends on the circumstances. I mean, no, really. To me, I mean,
they won't bring many people. They never bring many people, and a Tuesday night means they'll bring even less.
I think we've got to win that.
I think
we've got to avenge that Wembley final.
Yeah, certainly.
And I think we've got to prove that we're not just the same team as before. Do you mean we've got? There's got to have been. This is a chance to prove that there's been progress made, which all the evidence suggests there has been. You mean much better squad, really good run, like lots of good things happening. So yeah. I'll be very, very satisfied with a win, but I mean, I think even a draw will be a little bit disappointed.
They're a bit topsy-turvy at the minute. So the last few games, they to circle the square, they had Cambridge in the last round of the FA Cup, right? So they drew 2-2.
Oh, that's right. We could have had them there too.
Yeah. So they drew 2-2 with Cambridge. Then they went and played Bristol Rovers at Bristol and lost 2-1. Then they lost against Cambridge 3-1 in the replay. Then they've drawn against Bradford 1-1. And then they beat Oldham 2-1, and then they beat Leyton Orient 1-0 at the weekend. So they're in a reasonable, not terrible, not great run of form.
Playing all the same teams as us.
Well, I mean, weird, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's all strange. I mean, obviously you can build narratives out of anything, but I mean, all teams we've played and recently and beaten, or the one team that's beaten us. There are two teams have beaten us.
The players... Sam Hoskins was the player who did us all the damage at Wembley, wasn't it? He's still there.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Do you remember they had him making all the crosses, and they had that West Brom loanee,
right?
Who was quick and tall. Hoskins is still there.
Bob Hoskins.
Not
tall.
No, not tall. Good at investigating cartoon murders.
He's excellent at
that. Yeah, so, this is a big week, really, isn't it? I think 2 wins against these two teams, and we'll feel like flipping heck.
We definitely will, yeah.
That's huge. That kind. If we come through this with 2,
I think I'll be disappointed in is if we win in the FA Cup and then lose on the Tuesday.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Because that would just be like, because then that really kind of gives credence to the kind of like concentrate on the league kind of point of view, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? And I know it's not.
I think this isn't Tisdale. And I think the players and Taylor have been through quite a lot with this FA Cup thing already. So, they're not just going to go to Cambridge and roll over. And we know what a third round FA Cup tie does for everyone. Everyone loves it. Just to be in that draw on Monday.
Yeah.
Just to be part of that conversation.
Oh, totally, yeah. I mean...
a draw would be fine at Cambridge. That's another game to fit in, I know.
Oh, God, we can't do that, can we?
We can.
We can.
And in a way, the home tie for the replay would be, Yeah, and then Northampton on the Tuesday is massive, really.
I think it is, yeah, because I think if you look at the top sides in those top 4 or 5 places,
including us,
yeah. Swindon,
Forest Green,
Cheltenham, Port Vale,
not Cheltenham,
and then not Cheltenham, sorry,
yeah, Port Vale,
yeah, Northampton, I meant,
yeah, sorry.
Yeah. If you look a bit lower than that, then you kind of think, I mean, those are the ones I would expect to probably be there. If you're thinking that teams like Bradford and Salford can't turn their seasons around, which obviously could happen, those are the ones we have to beat.
Yeah.
And if we don't, it kind of, you do have to. I remember talking at the end of last season how we weren't beating the teams that finished above us. Those were the ones we lost or drew against. So with a few exceptions, I think Tranmere and whatnot. So please come on, lads.
What's interesting about this league is there's a lot of teams in the top 5 who've been there or thereabouts over the last couple of seasons, like definitely including us. Obviously, Forest Green, Northampton go up and down like yo-yos, as does Swindon.
Yeah.
We will, and then it's Sutton and Harrogate, who, if we're honest, will be delighted with the progress they've made.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. So you expect them to probably fall away, or at least not be as, serious challenges as some of those other teams. Never know.
If we don't lose to those, because we play all 4 of those, don't we? Northampton soon, Forest Green, Swindon, Port Vale.
Yeah.
If we don't lose to any of them and pick up some wins,
I think we've got to be looking at some wins out of those. Yeah. I think it's got to be the home ones.
Yep. Yeah, I'd agree. Big week.
Big old week.
What they call this is a big week. Well, I don't know. Listeners, let us know what you're thinking about all this stuff. It feels to me like this is different kind of Exeter City squad. Depth in numbers, really good depth. Actually.
It does feel like a rebuild, and it feels like one that's working well. And I think it's not. It could be going better. Obviously, it always can be, but
yeah. I think we've seen the evolution of Taylor as well. I think he's sorted out some of his kind of blind spots, substitutions in particular. I know we mentioned that before.
I think so. And I also think it's kind of like any question marks over how he work in the transfer market. I think it's got to be. Bear in mind, we know how difficult it is to get people to come to Exeter in the first place.
Yeah, and we're not big budget,
and the types of players he's managed to bring in and how they've reacted to him and to each other, and how they. And also the young players that he's brought through with unbelievable. Look at them. Look at Key and Hartridge. Do you mean? Yeah. At one point, Alex Hartridge took on about 4 players last night, like Messi. Do you mean? And that's not even something. That's just like a kind of extra bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that all that stuff's so impressive. On that note, Sonny Cox has signed a professional contract.
I know. I saw that. He's the next one, isn't he?
So that's good news, isn't it?
Yeah.
Either that means more money if he goes, either in January or in the new year. Or that we might see a bit more of him before he, if he ever does get going.
Yeah. No, that's a big deal.
And another bit on the subject of strikers.
Yeah.
Amond.
Yeah.
Not allowed to play. Wasn't allowed to play by Newport in that FA Cup match.
Yes.
Now, does that mean they're going to...
Is that Newport rules or is that...
No,
FA?
it was them.
Right.
Does that mean they're going to recall him in January? Because they do have the option to.
And got a new
it's
manager.
A different manager.
Yeah, maybe.
Taylor said last week or so that's a possibility, but also he said expressed interest in keeping him permanently.
Yeah,
and maybe him doing some sort of having a sort of half and half kind of coaching role thing as well.
I know this isn't big proof, but he's all over social media. Like he's very supportive of the team, of the club.
I get the impression that he's having a good time.
Yeah,
I mean, and getting on and stuff, and he seems really enthusiastic about. Helping the younger players.
Yeah.
I mean, and then when you've got some of those people around you, you would, I don't know. I guess it's the same at any club he's at, but I hope he doesn't go back in January. That'll leave us with a bit of a problem. Maybe that means Cox has to come in earlier. But I'm not sure that's quite the same. Who knows? Maybe it's better. Anyway, we'll see about that one. It might be for some other reason. Don't know.
Yep.
But,
we'll see.
Yeah, there's that.
And of course, you've alluded to it already, but the other big League 2 news is Lord Tisdale's back in the game.
Yeah.
He's dusted off the old...
So just when he was lying the other day about how he's never been back to Exeter...
Yes.
He's got to come back again.
Yes.
End of March, Stevenage come down. We'll see our old friend, Jake Taylor.
Our dear old pal, Jamie Reid.
Yeah, and Reid. I mean, look at that. It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, so and they play red and white.
Yeah, so you got Paul Tisdale's red and white army, Jamie Reid, Jake Taylor. Yeah. He'll have Seaborn back there in no time. Signed Seaborn in January.
Yeah, he will as well. Rob Edwards will be there, won't he? Yeah. He'll get a tune out of Edwards for another couple of games. So that's funny, isn't it? Yeah.
So it's funny. I mean, it's all... I don't think I need to qualify my opinions on Paul Tisdale. I mean, I have always been a fan.
Is this his last chance?
I don't know.
I think it's his last chance.
I mean, I think if he doesn't, I mean, what's the expectation for Stevenage? They can't be thinking.
But they spent quite a lot of money, didn't they, in the summer? And obviously they've improved the ground massively.
Right. So they obviously do have ideas of moving up to League One.
Yeah.
I mean, on paper, Tisdale's.
He's done it.
He's done it on multiple times with different clubs as well. I mean, remember we got MK Dons up as well.
I wouldn't fancy him in the playoffs. I'd say that. I wouldn't fancy him going and doing a job at Wembley.
What, you want to go up against him? Or
No, I definitely wouldn't want that either. But I mean, like, if Stevenage managed to sneak into the playoffs.
Well, I mean, we've also seen him win at the playoffs
we've
too.
Also seen him win at the playoffs.
Yeah, interesting. So
I'd love to be out of that mess. I'd love to just be. I realise I'm talking way ahead of the game here, but I'd love just to get some nice automatic promotion. We can all sit back and relax in May.
I know.
And I think let's put Tisdale on the. Apparently, Tisdale's team are playing tonight. Let's put it on.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be emotionally invested.
Just watching Paul and Jake and Jamie in their playoff semi-final
against Northampton and getting beaten by a long throw-in.
Yeah, do you mean just getting to watch that and just with no pressure and knowing we're already going to be up there?
Imagine. Let's not dream.
We can only dream.
Well, we are dreaming, yeah.
Here in the Dream Factory.
Of course, we are in the Dream Factory. And we'll be back again next week, listeners. We'll do it again after the Tuesday match, won't we?
Yeah, again. So, I mean, I know you've got there's less time to listen to these things in between matches, but what can you do? We've got to cover it. We've got to provide full, comprehensive coverage.
Yeah, you're going to have to listen only twice and not thrice a week. Because I'm imagining people listen back, a bit like I'm going to do with the Beatles, and just see new subtle nuances to.
I'm not going to watch that again.
Aren't you?
No, it's you
feel like you lived
it. It's so long. I felt like I lived it. But if someone edits it down, I mean, I'm loving how long it is, and anything I wish it was longer.
Yeah.
But for the second time round, I'm probably going to want a highlights package.
I think it's called the album. Just listen to the album. You know what they don't get anymore, and I realise why, is like the DVD of the season.
No, I know. Shame that, isn't it?
It's a shame.
Do they not do a kind of end of year vid or something? Feels like that sort of thing
I've
they
never
would
seen
do.
One. They should do.
They should do.
Maybe it's because we're usually so fed up and depressed.
Well, yeah, that's true.
What's that crap again?
Who's gonna? I mean, if we won,
there
obviously would be
have it all.
a DVD
VHS,
or whatever, Yeah.
DVD.
Give it me on Betamax.
Give it me on Laserdisc.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.